Summer dudes, and welcome back to PLB Green. Today I'm looking at a 12-month-old project of mine. This is a Chinese elm, and it's a root over rock, or root over several rocks. These are Syria stone, and they're meant to be for aquariums. They're kind of like grey with marbling, white marbling, and they have a really nice miniature effect. My initial idea for this tree was for it to look like a tree, a windswept tree on the edge of a sea cliff, like kind of just grabbing on with its roots and holding on for dear life, and just getting hammered by the wind. So the wind's coming up and smashing it back, and all of its branches are meant to be kind of protected and hiding from the wind. This is meant to be the front, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure which is the front. And it's just in this like terracotta training pot for now. It's wrapped up in some deteriorating glad wrap and some slimy Spagnum Moss. So I'm going to give it a tidy up today. A trim. I did wire it once upon a time at the very start of the project, and I accidentally part of the bark in the middle here has grown over the wire, but hopefully over time that scarring will just fade away. But yeah, I'm really excited about this project, and I'm excited to uncover the root base, at least down to the top of the pot, and see what has happened in 12 months. Let's get into it. My curiosity can last no longer. Let's get uncovering on this root over rock base, and then oh, dude. Probably end up putting more glad wrap around it today and more Spagnum Moss. Got some fresh stuff over here. After I uncover it, depending on the development of the roots and what they're doing, I'll probably continue it at least for a little while longer. And what this does, this glad wrap, is it just keeps, in the Spagnum Moss, it just keeps the roots that are growing up and around the roots really, the rock really moist, so they don't dry out, and it encourages extra root growth around the rocks. So, trusty root rake. Oh, dude, it's like uncovering it's like an archaeological dig. I don't know if 12 months is long enough, but you know, I'm too curious. I can't wait any longer, you know? I also want to see what's going on down here. I might also need some sort of scrubbing brush to get rid of some of this moss. See, there's like moss and stuff on the rocks. Oh, it smells amazing. It smells like a damp forest floor. So you can see, if you look carefully, there's all these super fine roots through here. Here's a cable tie. I don't even... It's not coming out. I don't know where. I don't even know where. I know it goes to this side, but... Bruh, it could be in here for forevermore. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go any deeper into the roots, because look how fine some of them are. I don't know if I want to dig any more. I might just leave that for now and slowly work my way around the rest and see what else we can find in here. What the... Oh, dude, look how slimy this is. Oh, some sort of grass. Oh, whoa. Are these roots? Yeah, there's roots down here. Look at those. All these fine roots all the way down here. I don't want they must have gone under the rock. Damn it, I wanted them to go over the rock. Okay, I'm not going to go any deeper than that because I don't want to repot this today. I just want to have a sneaky peek at the roots, and then I'll cover them back up with some fresh moss and fresh glad wrap. Oh. So, seems to be a lot of roots here. I'm not going to trim any of them, just going to keep them in the pot. Work my way around. This root looks like it's really thickening up here. It's kind of like attached now to the rock. Feels quite stable on there. And there's nothing holding it on anymore. This last cable tie is cut. There's no wires. Look at this. Pretty cool. Anything over this side? Yeah, there's more fine roots here. I don't want to disturb them too much. Whoa, let's see what's in this cabin here. Whoa, I remember this being, oh yeah, that's right. I was trying to make this like, this is why I wanted it to be the front. There's like this epic cave down in here. Start digging it out. Cool. Moss ball. So this root here comes down and around and tucks in between the two rocks and then goes straight down. So that's where it's, I think it's getting its stability from. And then here, oh, look at that root there against the rock. Look how thick it's getting. What's that one doing? That one's wrapping around in a... Oh, it goes down. That's the start of that one. It goes down, does a loop, and then goes down. That's pretty sick. I kind of like that. Is this like... With all the cool bugs crawling out of this cave. They're like... Get out of our cave. Okay. Don't disturb tree too much. Oh, okay. So cool. I'm just gonna leave. I think I'm gonna at least leave that moss there. All right. So now that I've uncovered the majority of it, it's looking pretty cool. I'll get you down onto pot level so you can take a closer look. Check this out. So some of the finer details, this thick root coming around here, and it kind of disappears down into this cave and curves and goes straight down. These are two separate rocks. So this is one rock and this is the second, and they're quite solid and heavy and they're not moving. They're definitely not, the rocks aren't secured into the terracotta pot, but when I'm going to leave it in here long enough for the tree to really bind everything together before I move it, and I'll probably end up just cracking this terracotta pot off in the end when I do eventually repot it. But I'm really liking the look of it. I like this side too. This root's a bit long and straight here, but this one's got some cool movement to it and comes all the way down and enters the soil here. But I definitely like this as the front, just because of this epic cave here. It's a really cool feature, and you know, I'm gonna when I eventually landscape and repot this, I think it's gonna look really cool. And this kind of hugs really nicely here, and then you see that there, and it curves up. So I think now it's time, before I pack in sphagnum moss again and rewrap it, I am going to do the trim on the branches, the upper branches, just so I can see the full tree while I'm doing that. And then that's when I'll do the sphagnum moss and root wrapping right at the end. So I think I'm going to keep this trimming part pretty simple. I don't know, like I'll cut some obvious branches that I'm not enjoying off, but I don't know if I'm going to make some big cuts here and here and here yet. I don't know if I want this to be completely windswept or have, you know, like a small branch or two trying to survive in the wind. So basically I'm just going to trim some of these really long top branches off. And the main reason I'm doing it now is because it's almost spring and here in Australia, and this, you can see if you look closely, this tree's starting to bud out everywhere. And I don't want the tree to waste energy on these really, really long branches. These really long branches grew last spring, and I'm going to cut them back closer down so we can get you know, more branches, double branches coming off these. Outward facing leaf node there. Could probably even go lower on that one. This one here. I know that this one comes up and around and crosses here, and this one crosses there, but eventually, who knows? I also think I want to keep most of the length going this way, a lot of the length, because I want it to have that windswept look, so more foliage over this side than this side. So I'm only going to cut this one. I'm going to just trim it a little bit. This one I'm going to cut, I think, right back for the same reason. Maybe I'll try it here for starters. But there. Just gonna leave it at that. As I said, I don't want to go too hardcore on this tree. I don't want to take away too much of its energy. And this one, I want to go back to here. Why? Just sharpen those. Like that. I don't like this branch here. It crosses over too many, and it grows in towards the center of the tree too much. Actually, use these. Yeah, this is the first tree that I've trimmed in a long time, since last spring, and it's been a long winter. I'm going to take this bottom branch off here just because I want it to kind of come that way rather than come down into the wind. There's a stump back there that I can take off. Don't think I want it. Ooh, yeah, good cut, good cut. That. And then right at the back here, I think I'm just going to take these ones down a little bit. Here. Here. And this really long one. Here. So you always look at your trees from every angle, even though that's the front. I want to have a look at it from the side as well, so it's kind of balanced and has depth. The back, it's kind of looking cool. I wish the wire didn't bite in here, but that's fine. It can recover. Just going to tidy up a few cut points, like that one. That one. There. forgot how much I like working on bonsais in the spring. Spring work, it's all coming back to me. Yes, yes, spring. It is time. So I'm just nipping off all of these old cut points that have died back from last time. Okay. That's about it for now. I might actually take that a little further back, like there. That's dead. Oh, that's a real shame. There she blows. Next step, I'm going to just quickly give this pot a tidy up. With a little scrubber. Get rid of all the algae and muck. These are really good because you have the scrubber on one side and then you can kind of, it doesn't have to be perfect, it's just a training pot, but yeah, if you can make it look nice and tidy, you may as well. Let's start packing on some Spagnum Moss. So I've just got this Spagnum Moss from the nursery. It's dried, it's dead. It's actually easy to work with if you dip it in water. So I'm going to be dipping it into dechlorinated water as I add it. The reason I use dechlorinated water is because the terrestrial moss I'm adding on top of the Spagnum Moss is going to love the dechlorination. It does not like chlorine. So the less chlorinated water you water your trees with, the more likely you are to grow terrestrial moss on your trees or on the pots of your trees. So I'm just going to bank it up a little bit here, give these roots a little bit more potential to grow across the rock or around the rock, and it will give me a mound, a moist mound, to plant the terrestrial moss onto. Spagnum moss holds so much water, the terrestrial moss will have a much better chance to establish. And again, I'm not going to put it everywhere, just on the spots that I want moisture to hold. Yeah, you can get this Spagnum moss from any kind of nursery or place that sells plants. It's a little bit pricey, but it's definitely worthwhile investing in. So on this side, I'm going to mound it right up on the roots, right up to the tree. Try and encourage those roots in there. So before it was wrapped in Glad Wrap, and that was a bit unsightly. This time around, I'm going to just plant terrestrial moss over the top. It won't hold the moisture as well as Glad Wrap, but it'll look a lot nicer. So there we go. So I've built it up around the rock there, around here. And for the cave, let's put a bit down in there. The cave, I'm not going to put heaps, but I'm actually going to, I think, put some pebbles. So I've got this little Midnight Pearl aquarium rocks. I'm going to use some of those. Just line the bottom of the cave. Maybe create a little pathway to the front. Like that. Over there. Here. Don't need many at all. Now we get to apply the terrestrial moss. Yes, yes. One of my favorite things to do of all time. So I just collected this, you know, from some damp areas, somewhere around rocks. You can even get some from the footpath if it's been raining. This is actually a fern moss, so it's really pretty and quite unique. So I really like using it. It makes everything look super miniature if you can get it to grow. So I'm gonna put some here. And then over the Spagnum Moss, push it down. And another cool thing about this terrestrial moss is you can kind of rip it and fit it where you need to. You don't necessarily, it doesn't get affected if you rip it. And what you should do though is push it down solidly into the soil or substrate or sphagnum moss or what are you planning on, so it has more access to moisture. So I'm just applying it everywhere, in patches, everywhere that there's sphagnum moss. And if you leave gaps, it'll cover that up in no time. This stuff grows prolifically if you water it regularly with dechlorinated water. So here, I'm going to just tear it gently so it fits in certain areas, like that. Again, this isn't the final form of this tree or the final form of this setup. It's in a, as I said earlier, it's still in a training pot and has a lot of growing to do, but you may as well, if you've got the moss lying around, you may as well get it looking nice. So that's what I'm trying to do now. And I want to get it looking nice for spring. And I know this tree is ready to grow for spring because it is starting to bud out. So there, pushing it into the nooks and crannies. Now I'm just going to put it there because I've got enough. Quite a lot here, and then down around the cave. Down. I want the cave to look like it has depth to it. Cool. Tiny amount of little black scoria rocks, and these are of these come in, like when you buy a bag of them, there's lots of little different sizes. If you add them to places like the entrance to a cave and scatter them randomly, they can actually give quite a lot of, make it look really miniature and cool. All right, that I think is it. I'm going to give this tree a big water, and I'll give you the slow turnaround.